I am just going to do a year in review for my executive director's report, because we just finished our fiscal year. October 1st started the new fiscal year, and that was our very first fiscal year for this board. So I really wanted to reflect on what we can do in a year. So let me get started. So we all know this. Governor DeSantis gave us a charge, and he put you in here, you put me in here, and it was to advance Everglades restoration and improve water quality. That was front and center, but we've got a big job to do. And so we took it on strong, and we took it on hard. But then we were thrown a curveball. COVID, I mean, what the heck? Look at this place. So that hit us in March, but we were not deterred. Our IT staff, all of our management team, the amount of decisions we had to make to transition our entire 1,400 employee organization to a whole different mode of operations and get the job done was monumental. And these folks did it. And look, we still have folks in the field, but we have folks working in their kitchens and in homes and so forth. And now we all know each other's interior decorating. It was quite a feat, and I couldn't be more proud of the management team here, the facility staff, the IT folks that really helped us make that transition to keep us going. That allows me to make the rest of this presentation. Oh, and by the way, we were all in COVID, we were all worried about this, and then a hurricane approaches, Isaias. And, we had practiced it actually. We had practiced it, and we actually pulled it off. And we even got a positive test at one of our pump stations while we were pulling it off, and had to deploy and clean and get that pump station back ready for population with other people.
You actually look like in that picture you're actually saying, what? Is that a hurricane?
Yeah.
Kidding me?
I was. Yeah, but that was a whole new exercise that the history of this district had never been done before. So we're very proud of being able to pull that off as well. But when it comes down to this water management district, is we are responsive. When things happen, we respond, and we respond well. And you may recall the Memorial Day weekend rains down in Miami-Dade. That was like 14 inches over the weekend, something like that, monumental rains. We responded, turned on the pumps, and throughout that whole event where flooding did occur, our canals could always accept water. And there was a lot of public debate about that, but it was clear that we responded, and I'm very proud of the operating staff. And then we deployed, during other emergency operations. Because of that flooding, we had a COVID site that was flooded, and we were able to pump them and get them back up and running. And of course, we had a fire in Everglades National Park before those rains that we helped put out. I mean, when we are called and when they need water moved or stored or something, we got ways to respond, and we do it. And it's very exciting what we can do in a year. And I'm sure I'll have a slide like this next year too. The other thing that we did this year is just recognizing, we have 1 million acres of lands that we take very good care of. And one of the things that we do as a board and as a district is we listen to people, listen to what they're concerned about, and see what we can do about it. And there was a lot of talk this year about herbicides and our use of herbicides to manage lands as a state or as a local government. So we said, okay, we hear you, we're going to respond. So we launched our herbicide reduction strategy and set a goal for ourselves. You can see we've been reducing the dependence on herbicides for the last 10 years. But we're going to do another goal of 20% reduction for the next 5 years with innovative technologies that we're deploying, biocontrols like the fish you see, the bugs, and really try to respond to the public concerns. And by the way, we're not going to let exotics get out of control either. Where we have a mission to control them, we're not going to let that happen. And I think we're very good at exotics control. And of course, you heard it today, Governor DeSantis charged us with doubling our Python program, which we did this year. And just this week, one of our hunters removed the largest python on record. Sorry, alligator Ron, Python Ron. And of course I might have to replace the picture, but that was my favorite picture of the year.
May I ask a question?
So,
Mr. Bartlett, are you allowed to tell us where they caught the python?
Yes, if I knew. I think, right? There's no reason we can't.
It's L-28.
This one or the new one? Oh, yeah, the biggest one ever caught was on the L-28 levee, which is the one that Mr. Alligator Ron wants to punch holes in, over on the west side of Water Conservation Area 3. Yep. Oh, and boy, we bought some land this time around too, over the past year. We got almost 20,000 acres of Everglades land under Governor DeSantis' leadership to prevent the exploration of oil and gas in the Everglades. We don't have to talk about that anymore because we bought that land. We also finished the land acquisition needed for the C-23, C-24 reservoir. That land have we certified that land? I imagine we have. It's ready, you know. So, you know, we are getting land acquisition done, and that was done during COVID. Both of them were. And then we really jumped in on sea level rise and climate change, hired the district's first district resiliency officer, Dr. Moran. She was here earlier. And really started amping up our engagement with the compacts and all the local communities and investing in understanding where our risks are for our structures and what we can do to solve them. Very engaged initiative. And then, of course, we launched our irrigation guidelines project, where we reviewed all local government ordinances and sent out 38 letters and, you know, got 15 governments to respond. 140 of them are engaging with us on trying to make sure theirs are up to date and working. But this was a brand new initiative. This wasn't an initiative before this past fiscal year. It continues. And then, of course, science. And I hear staff say it all the time. It's so nice to see the district dedicated to science. It's so nice to see us jumping in on science. And this monitoring network, you heard Lawrence talk about it earlier, the things we're understanding, starting to see now because we have doubled the amount of data that we are collecting in those northern Everglades. And that's not just like, hey, board approved, let's go get it done. No, the board approved it, and it took lots of work to set up the stations, get access, get calibrations, get everything deployed. It's fully deployed now, all in this year, all under COVID. I could probably say that for every one of these. And then, of course, we never let up on Northern Everglades restoration. We launched, in Jennifer Reynolds' team, the watershed protection plans for Lake O, St. Lucie, and Caloosahatchee, and we actually finished some projects, too. Colonel Roman talked about Brighton Valley Dispersed Water Management. That's a 6,000-acre field or storage area that water's already pumping into right now. We restored the wetlands at Alapata Flats. That was a hydrologic restoration. That's in the St. Lucie watershed, where it's a big acreage. Now it's holding the water instead of discharging the water. And then, of course, we had on the Caloosahatchee side, Lake Hicpochee Phase 1, hydrologic improvements, a finished project. It's online and working right now. And of course, our STAs are always working. We sent clean water to the Everglades, 1 million acre feet last year. And that's not an easy feat. I mean, we plant plants, 619 acres of plants. We got the energy dissipators installed because we're having some gashes in some of our, from hard flow in some of our STAs. So we got those put in, and you guys have issued numerous contracts, you know this very well, to make sure these things by 2025 are sending clean water, meeting water quality standards to the Everglades. And then we had some big groundbreakings. Caloosahatchee Reservoir, that was a great event. That was pre-COVID. Look at all our smiling faces. Where we broke ground, and that's the southern edge of the reservoir embankment under construction right there. That is an exciting project that's going to have amazing benefits for the Caloosahatchee estuary. We broke ground last year. We filled the C-44 stormwater treatment area last year. It's been a long time coming. Now we have pictures of water standing on land in the C-44 basin, right when we need it to stand on the land. Governor DeSantis pushed that button, and it magically turned on the button, on the pumps. But that was great, a great event. And then, you know, this is Tamiami Trail. We've really finished construction on the 333 North. We're just tidying it up now, I would say. Is that fair, John? So that structure was completed this year. this fiscal year, and we also began removing Old Tamiami Trail all this year. So uncorking the Southern Everglades under our watch last year. And then, of course, our big daddy, the EAA Reservoir Stormwater Treatment Area. It's a great picture of Chauncey, isn't it? But we got to break ground on that STA, which was a very exciting event, and that thing is underway. And so glad that we're building, that reservoir. And of course, last month you adopted the largest budget in a decade. That's going to do a whole lot of things next year. So I'll be able to give this presentation next year and say a lot more really incredible things. But we are invested and dedicated in the mission that's right above me, and it's very exciting. And really, I couldn't say enough about all the cool things I talk about and all the nice stuff I talk about couldn't happen without our administrative staff just kind of supporting the backbone of our agencies. I mean, they have approved and awarded 107 contracts worth of $710 million, and that includes $591 million during COVID. That's record-breaking for this district, quite frankly. That is hard work, and that got done. And our HR system, we've been looking at that, and we revamped the performance review system to make sure it's much more frequent feedback of employees and keep that good engagement going with our employees. And of course, we have a whole regulatory program that's cooking. 2,400 ERPs, actions taken, 1,900 water use permits, actions taken. And then we've got compliance activities, 15,000 of those compliance touches done with 7,000 field inspections to make sure that we are, after we permit, they're complying. So a lot of that stuff happens and happened over the past year. So really, if you just think about it and you reflect of the difference we made in 1 year, we are working on storage north, south, east, and west of the lake. I mean, seriously, just working on storage in all those sectors. And we all know that when it comes to lake and what we can do around that lake, that's absolutely necessary. We're absolutely focused on the Southern Everglades. We're focused on our land management. And when you think about what we have done, we're making a big difference. I mean, we are absolutely making a big difference. The fact that we're not going to talk about oil and gas exploration in the Everglades anymore is just phenomenal. I mean, there's just things, you just think about it. And so we've been together for one full fiscal year, and I just think it's important for us to reflect on that type of activity and what we've been able to do. And that passion comes straight from you guys, And it permeates the staff, and they feel it. And when I talk to them, they feel like, hey, we're doing stuff here. We're really proud to work here. And so you need to hear that. So congratulations. Really, that's all I have for my executive director's report.